out of Invincible in that top side. TheShy, what's his answer to it? Very few players have had a straight-up counter to the Rumble. It tends to be the jungle tops, which tends to counter it. Something like a Sejuani Renekton. We saw the Renekton Lee Sin as well do very well on the other side, but we are going to see ourselves Ivan for the first time in this series. Very good at blocking for long-range backlines, being an absolute nuisance as well. And TheShy, he loves that quid. He hovered it. It was played over in Europe the other day as well by Koi Sugenda. They're thinking through some of their top lane picks. They're hovering them right now. Will it be the Renekton? That'll be the standard strong laning pick, which can snowball the matchup the way that Invincible showed, but they're still hovering their options.
I love the constant communication with TheShy and the team, trying to figure out what exactly they want to go for here. If they want to go ahead and play into that flexibility that could be possible, if they want to grab that top matchup. We do get the Emperor yet again for Xiaohu. Shocker out of left field, but it has been a crucial pick here in this series for Xiaohu himself.
And it's also a takeaway from Angel, who is a renowned Azir player in themselves. So we have ourselves the battle of the arboreal nature. We have the two trees in the jungle, Maokai versus Ivan, and they do somewhat similar jobs in some of these team fights, where they're looking to play around corridors, play around their long range, and just tie up the front line or whoever is up in front of them long enough for their backline to do damage. And as it turns out, there's a lot of damage on both of these backlines now. Even with just the Azir locked in from Weibo, that is significant. But Maokai Jace, we know that combo very well now. It's been played all the way since spring. And then the OMG addition to it, they were the ones that really innovated this, was the Maokai ult leading into a long-range Rumble ultimate over the top of it. And IP, they have really long-range damage.
That's the beautiful part. It does require a bar of execution needing to be reached, but something that easily can be done once you get in a lead. And I think the cohesion between Shadow and Angel would be ever more important in this matchup particularly. We did get that Cassante for TheShy, so you do have some strength in the top side. He did get 2 solo kills just last game, is all I'm saying. But it was the Xayah focus and more bot lane to come here, I'm sure, as the Kalista banned away and the smile comes through from Light.
Makes all too much sense, doesn't it? I think with the Kalista being able to pull out a support from something like the Maokai ult that can tank it up and then eat an ultimate or two and then get thrown back into the fight, that'll be too dangerous for them, especially with how Photic and Zhuo have been ripped apart in the 2v2 laning phase. There's going to be a lot of AD carry bans again. This, again, goes back to this hallmark of the meta. It feels like the top LPL teams are the teams with AD carries that have the largest champion pools. No Kai'Sa, no Xayah, no Kalista, no Tristana. I wonder what the last ban will be. Could potentially be an Ezreal ban as well if they're worried about that one. Of course, Light showed some great proficiency on that earlier into this. We are really, once again, stretching what our AD carries are willing to play.
I love to see that flexibility, especially between these two guys. Yes, there's all the Photic and Light puns you could ever ask for, talking about lights and shadows and all that stuff, but it just comes down to good mechanical gameplay, aggressive mechanical gameplay between Photic and Light. And I think that is going to be a key kicker here in game number 4, and especially if Photic wants to have any say. I think we had an okay performance in game number 2, but we have not had that kind of show-stopping performance from him. He's going to opt in potentially to play more with the team here, with some utility that was banned away against him last game. But I do want to highlight this Crisp Leona, a big engager and also just a lot of a trendsetter in game 4 for him.
And also played so well in lane in game 1. And of course, you know, it's much as we harp on about it, we've got like the Lady of Sunlight in the support role as well, with everything we've been talking about. This is so crazy to me though, because we have moved from a meta where it's not about support counterpick, it's about AD carry counterpick. Photic's got an Alistar to play alongside, which will be very good at being that real thorn in the side of Weibo as they try and cut down that front line. Yes, something like Daisy can be really annoying, but as soon as Alistar has ult, they're really hard to get rid of in that front line and can answer the Leona too. And a Neela last pick.
Oh my god.
Really showing us the depth of the champion pool again. The counter pick AD carry meta has arrived at LPL.
I am here for it. The amount of all-in you have in this 2v2, not only is that true, but it's also when you look at how this series has gone so far. If Light and Crisp get ahead, it feels like NIP have no gas in the tank. and we get the Nila Light to set it all up. I love the Fanghorn Forest matchup. I love the play into all the possible light you could get. You've got the Sun Disc. You've got series. They've got a draft that's very interesting. We'll see how the top lane goes. Let those gyos ring one more time. Loud as ever, the energy is electric in Xi'an, and the arena is alive and well with the fans of NIP in Weibo. As we get in game number 4, all eyes on Shadow, the cohesion he has with Angel in this very utilitarian composition that we have seen so many times around these objectives be so strong, Nymeare.
And also, eyes on Nila. Now, many people don't know how Nila works. I didn't until recently when I started playing a bit of the champion. I rolled it in ARAM and I had to read the tooltips for once. And one of the big things you need to know about Nila is that if you have shields and heals on your team, Nila buffs them up and gives some of that value to themselves. So Ivern going to get value out of that. Heck, even the Azir E can get some value out of that too. Light's also going to be dodging some auto attacks, might help versus the 1v1 matchup. It's going to be a little hard playing the melee marksman into the Alistar. You dash on top of him and you can really make your life hellish. But there are definitely some ways that Light can buff up the rest of his team, especially with that Apotheosis later into the game. The big swirling shield healed ultimate.
That all-in is what you're looking for. If they go all-in, they will just try to commit to the fight itself. Also, first time in Light's competitive history, he's picking this one out. And in a playoff game, no less, the first time we're seeing Weibo. We have seen Crisp and Light take advantage of the 2v2 early on. Those level 2s come quick and fast, but you get the aggression down there. I'm looking at the opposite side pathings from Weibo and from NIP, though, in Shadow and Weiwei, and see where they're going to try to trend towards here.
Angel taking control of the early matchup just about in mid lane. You can do this as Jace, where you want to jump past the soldiers, use your double abilities at early levels, because of course you have that transform to make the most of these bursty trades. It can get pretty close. Jace, one of the things that was hit about this champion were the tank stats in recent patches and recent history, I suppose. Kind of took him out of top lane, put him back into mid lane where he could deal with equally squishy mid laners.
They saw him.
They're going to be spotted on the way towards mid lane, though. He knows they're here. How much? Wow!
Oh, wow! He still finds a Xiaohu with the shifting sands and towards Weiwei. Should be able to make it out of here. Angel's hard committing, and that might just be a turnaround from Weibo. This is a 2v2 fight that could mean so much for either side. Xiaohu, he's going to go down to first blood, and it goes straight to the Shadows.
Shadow is not done yet. Gets a crucial kill onto Xiaohu, but how disrespectful was that from the eponymous mid laner of Weibo? This mid laner has done so much for so many teams over the years, but he's not able to get out of that first blood, even with the vision on the Maokai and the brush.
They thought they had seen him, maybe not putting that information to good use enough quick enough. It is NIP with that early advantage, and just about trying to look for a skirmish on the other side is Weiwei. Does end up stealing away the blue pretty quickly there as the Ivern, so actually getting a little bit back for Weibo.
Ivern's one of those champions with some of the weirdest pathing in the game. Invincible is up at a 1v2. He doesn't have an ignite either.
This is awkward. I don't know if Invincible can make it out of this one alive. He should just go down here. You do have Shadow on his way. They don't have the damage just yet. Flame Spitter with that proc of the heat up. He's going back. Oh my god, he gets taken out. Shadow looking for more though. You better start building some AP because the forest has come alive. Kills back and forth. 2 for Shadow as a whole in this game, but it is Weiwei who gets on himself on the board.
For a second, I chose to believe that the sapling in the Ivern brush was going to turn that play around. Gave the empowered sapling because of Ivern just casting W. Hadn't seen that interaction before. Have to think about how those trees interact a little bit more. But this was less about the Ivern, much more about the Maokai. So what happens here? So there were blue pings. There were blue pings. Yeah. They see them on that side, and then...
So somebody, I guess, just maybe lack of communication there. You see how early it comes down, but he is not the one pinging that. It was somebody else.
And he suffers for it. Maybe thinks he can bait them in, trade flash for flash, and then use the Ivern in the burst. Well, Ivern has a significant amount of damage nowadays, especially when he steps into a brush. Which is why you drop the brush on your head. It gives you auto attacks extra damage. But then, of course, the empowered sapling comes in. Shadow overestimates this. I think if he gets the kill right here onto TheShy, it means that that second Q doesn't come through and the extra auto attack, which means that maybe there's a chance they can make it out. think the red buff probably would have meant that weiwei could get it anyway, finding the boss.
That's a flash out from Photic down there in the bottom side. They still take the engage. This is a 3v2, but Shadow is on his way. If Weibo can take this out, though, Light can look for a first kill. Weiwei is the one that gets it, so second kill for the jungler of Weibo. Those Shadows looking for Light. Light doesn't really have a way out. Angel is here as well. Weibo just need to try to get out of here. The accelerated shock blast comes through. NIP trying to chase down Crisp. He's just going to sacrifice his life, but look at the turnaround. It's not going to be there.
Resets.
Light overextended too. He gets the dash out though, and the turret shot gets him back. The Friends of the Forest take down Shadow.
Slipstream to safety. Nymeare gets out unharmed just about. Light, you can see the amount of really frustrating mobility this champion has. Photic, he's caught overextended again.
Oh no.
How many charges does Light have? Light may be able to chase down.
The mobility that you have here on this Ivern is so crucial, and look at the lockdown. Light gets himself a kill, and Weibo, they found that bottom lane advantage that they have run away with in previous games.
Credit to NIP and credit to Shadow for approaching this game with, we'll say confidence, maybe gusto, something like that, but it has turned on its head a number of times now. Weiwei has turned a lot of plays around. Photic has to blow the flash early. Weiwei is at the play early. And with the amount of early damage from red buffs, from Weiwei putting a brush on his head and Light being able to chase down, it's more than enough to take the 3v2 at the start of it. Things get really awkward when Angel gets the first roam, though. We talked about how the Jace can win the early matchup versus the Azir. It's very important at this point. It allows NIP to go a little further. But even then, you can see how close all of these players are. And not for the first time, NIP, they do overestimate themselves just about. Turret shots, roots, Shadow goes a little too far.
That's the biggest capitalization right there. If that doesn't happen, there's a bit of a difference in the bot side play that happened. But Shadow taking a couple of those turret shots, that now means that Weibo are back onto the map with a 3-0 Weiwei. His Angel Wings, they are spread wide, my friend. This guy has been such a crucial factor to Weibo's resurgence this split and the way that they function so beautifully.
One of the worries now is, so one of the things about Nymeare is that you do get to share a lot of XP with your support, which means that likely Crisp is hitting 6 before Crisp, even with the winning lane as well. It's going to exemplify that. He has himself the Apotheosis, the giant almost AD Diana roll, except it gives you healing and shielding beyond your max HP as well. So Light is at a position where he's got so many stats and so much ability to go in. I think he's going to have enough damage to tank his way through the NIP team and probably get a lot of kills, particularly with when Nymeare goes to something like the Collector first item as well. NIP cannot let Light have a good engage into their team.
And you get to see now that dragon taken by Weibo. Rift Herald has now spawned on the other side of the map. It's something where you can get that clear going for Weiwei and get pressure up there, take another objective, and continue strangleholding this, right? This is NIP that had about a 1K lead early on. It has completely flipped. Weibo feeling really good, and TheShy looking for some side lane pressure of his own.
To get what he can out of this matchup. It's basically been an island up here. We had that one play earlier, but on the whole, this top lane has been left to the device of the 1v1.
He's gotten 2 solo kills, okay?
Okay, yes, but that was on an island because they were solo kills. No one else was there.
Yeah, okay.
Well done, Mazel. You have found out the meaning of an island.
Sometimes they need to have a little bit of help. Maybe we're
coming to shore. It's not an island.
Can we connect the bridge? Oh, there's the bridge. It's bringing Invincible straight to Weiwei. Got the equalizer being, flashed away from, as well as that Nature's Grasp from TheShy. So some trade backs, not everything going to go too much, but heavy presence from both junglers and topside.
I think Invincible knows that the wave needs to get crashed. TheShy still at the end of his ults.
Ooh, there's the flash out. Oh, that connected actually in Shadow. He's looking to go back in as well. He doesn't really have any tools available. Invincible trying to get out. Crisp with the flank. Solar Flare. That is not going to be enough for NIP to find anything. The beautiful... Oh, he gets him. The tower shot back. Shadow gets a third kill, but it is devastation still being wrought by Weibo.
Jace turns up towards top lane to clear up at least the mess of this last minion wave, but Weibo once again really getting value out of this Ivern. Weiwei, and particularly Daisy in that fight, got so much value. People forget how much damage that ultimate does nowadays, especially with the Aerie being procced over and over. Daisy can really put out significant damage, and I think NIP, once again, just overestimating themselves against this champion in the jungle. At least they get themselves a Herald after this. That's a response, and I don't think Weibo are in position to stop it right now. What ultimates do they have? They don't have the Solar Flare. They don't have the all out.
God,
they don't have position That's a bad reset.
Oh, no. Oh, NIP, got to get out of here. You have to get out of here. Escape while you can. Maybe they turn it around. A reset city for Photic could be the call. They get Crisp down, and that means that Photic's excited. He'll be tearing takedown. Nature's Grass comes through, and they find Xiaohu. Maybe he wanted this fight all along. As a double kill to Angel. It was all a bait, and now this Team Cup is starting to fire up.
But how critical was that cancel on the Zenith Blade by Zhuo onto Crisp? Photic gets to survive. He doesn't have to blow his cleanse or his flash at the start of the fight, and the Jinx takes over. MVP of that fight is 100% that Alistair play from the support of NIP.
They have consistently banned this pick away against him as well. They don't ban it this time, and they get the horns for it.
Invincible just about has his W shield up for the movement speed and the shield out. And this is, again, one of these plays where it feels like maybe NIP just don't understand the value and the damage coming out of the Ivern. Look how much Daisy does as part of this. Invincible's low, and the threat of the knock-up from the third hit of Daisy is really quite annoying at this point. Invincible starts getting tagged on and has to back off. You can't really walk into Daisy, which allows Crisp into the play. Gets himself out of Tower as well. You were right in calling this. It's kind of really unfortunate that TheShy dies after that point. Is that the end of the replay? We are going to see the fight around Herald as well. Watch this. That is absolutely crisp, critical play from Zhuo. Gets the cancel onto the buffer as well. Gets the head buff into the pole to cancel that E. That completely saves the fight, and it gives NIP a much-needed win against the grain of the play, it felt like, the way this game was going.
And those little moments can be the biggest difference makers. And I think Chris will be thinking a little harder next time when he goes in. That combo is swift and nasty from Zhuo. And that is why this Alistair feels like a really unlocking pick for not only Zhuo, but also NIP. We are seeing Dragon spawn at about 45 seconds, and Weibo constantly hovering around it with this vision, trying to find some picks towards bottom lane.
Daisy used to scout out the terrain. Sees that Shadow is indeed towards the bot side of the map. Going to be a red buff steal. One of the big takeaways from that last fight was Angel getting an awful lot of gold. That's very important, because you know what Angel can build later on? Serpent's Fang. I think it should be a third item here. Go towards the Muramana and Serpent's Fang. Heck, maybe even get a second. Because with the Ivern and then the buffed up shields from Neela, who has that synergistic passive which increases allied heals and shields, that will give huge value to them. Ult from the TheShy doesn't bring him over the wall.
Oh, tower shot, solo bolo, right back to Invincible, and some revenge in the top side.
Invincible doesn't even have to use anything for that. He doesn't have his ultimate up, doesn't have to blow a flash because he doesn't have that one either. Xiaohu looking to return the favor.
Oh my goodness, that was so clutch. Shadow still might die though, the Nature's Grass not enough. It looked real good at first, it doesn't matter because the follow-up is too clean. And a kill goes right into Light's pocket, and that's Dragon number 2 for Weibo.
Xiaohu maybe a little bit annoyed by that first blood death. Potentially the one around the Herald as well. Gets himself some payback at least. Photic gets some vision, but trying to engage into the bushes, it's very difficult because you don't always have the auto attack vision.
They have the equalizer here.
Because Ivan gets to starve it out.
They have a lot of poke. That's the strength of this composition from NIP, though. That is why they were so keen on drafting this, because we see so much control from a distance. You have the saplings, you have the accelerated shock blast, you have the threat of the equalizer coming down anytime, and then you throw in the Mega Death Rocket there as well the entire time. I think NIP have gotten a much more stable composition to execute here for game number 4. They will end up utilizing that Rift Herald in mid lane.
And I love that it is a more stable game and more stable compositions, because it felt like in the first 3 games, we never got to see even team fights. We've barely seen team fights in general, because one team has exploded early game. NIP, they overestimated themselves in some early plays, but Weibo kind of threw that back around the Herald. As you said, that first Herald went in towards that mid lane. If then NIP were to secure a second Herald, as we've talked about previously in the series, you can get that mid lane out of turret pretty much for free. Going back to the 1v1 here though, TheShy gets himself aggro and doesn't get the connection over the wall. Takes another couple of tower shots. I don't know how close that was. It feels like Casanto always has a pretty long range on that ultimate. It could have been just a couple of units off, but TheShy misjudges it, dies for the attempt.
I love that he steps back up for it too. He's like, you know, I already gave this far. Let's just see how much farther we can push it. Weiwei looking to push this top side though. This has been a nice connection they found in this game. And TheShy, he's looking to stack up that Q3, get the knockback into the combo with Daisy. But he can't get it in shadows here as well. Maybe a bit of a response. There's the Nature's Grasp. There's the TP. TheShy is under turret aggro again. You cannot do that, my man. He just gets caught, takes a 4th death, and NIP scoop that up all day long.
Oh, TheShy giveth, TheShy taketh away. It's 2 awkward attempts back-to-back and doesn't commit the flash into Invincible. Maybe thinks that he get outplayed with flash-for-flash trade. And he ends up going down once again. The teleport's coming in from Angel anyway. It would have been a clean-up fight regardless. Top lane for Weibo once again being a source of concern for them.
I will say though, Weibo, again, 4th game in a row they get first turret. I'll see if that consistency remains there. Photic will burn that cleanse. There's the TP as a response. Zhuo flashing away. Photic doesn't really have an exit strategy, and that seeded blade won't be headbutted away. And the immediate flash response means Photic is left out in the dust.
I think Photic just had to flash early. I think he greeted that. He went upwards into the river. Maybe he could have joined his team by flashing down over the wall. Chris makes the most of it. Photic goes down. So NIP, they eat themselves another loss. It has been tit for tat, back and forth. Weibo find themselves with still a gold advantage, which they will use to great effect. Again, the problem is, I think that once Jace hits 3 items, I think Weibo are going to start feeling themselves in a much worse position, though. They have a lot of shielding, but if a Serpent's Fang comes through, I do think that will be a turning point in the game. How quickly can Angel reach that, though? He's about to hit his 2nd item of that Muramana. Weibo, what's their plan looking like now?
We do see the Gale Force actually completed for Light as his 1st item on the Nila.
Okay.
We also have some combinations being completed. NIP will put together their own combo around this Rift Herald and take the 2nd one for themselves.
They don't have the Alistair ultimate. They do have pretty much everything else. They don't have
There's
Daisy.
Daisy.
Photic. Daisy comes through. That can be the scout into the bush. How much value is it going to get, though? Herald's already gone. Weibo not there at the right time.
Yep, not in time to make the play. Daisy sacrifices herself. But that Rift Herald will be something that NIP can utilize to get some more advantage. Maybe even give Photic a little bit more of this gold. We are seeing a heavy presence from both teams around mid lane. As the light shines, it's not the player, it's the sun disc now for Weibo in the mid lane.
Oh, it just all makes so much sense. Sunlight and mid and support.
It really does,
Light is ready to carry. I mean, sometimes the story tells itself, but the story of this game, it's really not been that clear. It's been back and forth. No one's really become the protagonist just yet. It's 2 fences dueling, swords at the ready. It feels like we are getting towards the 2nd act of this game. We haven't got that Baron spawned just yet. When that happens, it has felt like NIP around the Herald, and when they get to set up around the objective, have been taking fights. Despite that, Weibo have stopped them from being able to take fights elsewhere, though. So it really depends on the terrain for me and how well set up these teams will be as to who will walk away the victor.
It's just all about right time and being in position, right? And I think NIP will have a lot easier say in that when objectives continue to come up. You have these saplings providing extra vision. You have a lot of range to poke down. They will feel a lot more confident if Weibo are the ones that are starting up the objectives. I will say now we're getting the 2nd items already completed for Weiwei as well, was that redemption. He's 4-0-5 on the Ivern, but I do want to start seeing some facilitation for gold to his actual carries.
Got to start asking yourself about some anti-heal as well. I think Invincible probably has to be the one to bite the bullet on that front, unless Shadow wants to buy himself a one of those Oblivion Orbs as well. Potentially that can proc him on the saplings. I think the Equalizer is probably where you want to get that anti-healing from. Like I said, I think the anti-shielding has to come in from Angel. He's the only person that can build the Serpent's Fang. No one else can build that lethality at this point. So Angel gets himself 2nd item. Not a Muramana just yet. Needs to stack that one just up. Itemization is going to be very key in these next few fights, though. Weibo, I think they're at a good point of power.
They are. They do have the charge coming their way, though. Won't be able to take the turret just yet. Daisy is in full force. We do have to look TP from Xiaohu. Oh my god, this could be the biggest flake. This could be the trendsetter for Weibo. Solar Flare goes wide, and that means Xiaohu should probably back away now. Unless they can try and catch Photic. They don't know he's here. They will catch him out. Photic, he gets pushed back, and that's the pickoff you expect from the Emperor of Shurima. A big kill to Light, but TheShy is caught on the side. It is a response in that Duskblade proc for Angel.
Xiaohu tries his best to make the miracle play, but NIP, they slap back quickly, so they get something back. Dragon now has spawned. One of the frontliners down for Weibo, and with no Solar Flare and no flash on the Leona, I think it's harder for Weibo to fight this than you might otherwise think. Normally losing an AD carry, that's the end of your team fight. NIP, they're not backing off fully just yet. They're sticking around. They have Equalizer, and Photic is alive with the ultimate. Can contribute from a long range in base.
They have so much strength here. They have so much strength in these positions. This is literally what I was talking about. Equalizer is here. You have the saplings who are going to start putting in work, but the shock blasts have arrived. TP on the side, TheShy. Got to be careful. Let's take one to the back. Photic has revived and come back here. NIP forcing themselves into this one. Crisp on the side, can't find an equalizer on the exit of Weibo, but look at TheShy. He's found a flank. I don't know if Weibo can close the trap jaws just yet. The dragon does reset here, Nymeare.
But you can see how Weibo, they're trying to corral NIP into the same space, see how much they can get from flanks, but they don't have Daisy now. They're playing around bushes. Their temporary front line of the Ivan ultimate being gone does mean a lot. Zhuo, he has his own temporary front line in his ultimate, but not the most HP to use it. It's a tense situation, Mazel.
They're going to try to get in here. These big engages can be the difference maker. Zhuo will pop the Unbreakable. There's the Nature's Grasp as well. If they can get out of this one, Weibo have a good chance. Solar Flare comes back in. Photic has used that cleanse, but Invincible will man-mark TheShy. Dragon given over to Weibo.
Close run stuff on the Super Mega Death Rocket, but not enough. Weibo, they're not going to get any kills for it, but they will get themselves that objective. Close run stuff. Weibo just about get away with it. Clean play from Crisp, honestly, to make sure that Zhuo couldn't get the most use out of his ultimate. Drops the Ignite as well, true damage. Doesn't mean, it means that it will go straight through the Alistar ultimate. Doesn't reduce that damage. He therefore doesn't have enough HP after that point to be the front line we needed him to be. This is going to be so interesting to watch how the front line evolves later into this game. Getting the pro view of how Xiaohu found himself onto this flank.
Got the stopwatch at the last second.
He was off of vision. Got himself the stopwatch in case he needed it. Was wondering if he needed to use his flash maybe, but finds the angle nonetheless. Finding the 80 carry in a critical moment like this. Very few players have had as much a clutch history for Xiaohu in the LPL. Very nearly wins it for his team, but TheShy gets caught out in return.
Yeah, it's just the duality, I guess, at this point of Weibo. There will be moments like that, but you got to try to hone it in here and put a nice, strong finish. I think NIP finally have put up a fight in a contested series against Weibo. We finally get a series that is back and forth. We don't have a monumental gold lead at 15 minutes. It feels like both teams are finally firing on all cylinders, and that just means we are in for a treat for the rest of this game.
But I will say, teams might be firing on all cylinders, but I don't think TheShy is in this game. I think on the Rumble game, you could give him some points of mitigation for maybe his team not giving him the tools to play weak side against a snowball matchup that got an early kill. In this game, it has mainly been the case of his own over-aggressive plays. We've got a big fight, Light caught out.
Speaking of aggression, NIP will find Crisp caught out in transition. Baron has just spawned, but NIP are looking at mid lane turrets here to make some gold.
I think if they get mid lane turret, that's a pretty big win for them. Again, they couldn't quite manage it with the double heralds, but they took it low enough to get it free for now. So, how much will that help NIP get themselves vision into the enemy jungle for what feels like the first time in a long time in this game? They're dropping saplings, they're controlling the top side of the map. Of course, Baron has spawned now. Chris will be respawning soon. I don't think NIP have the DPS to go towards that, nor do they want to give Weibo a chance to teleport behind them with their own vision control. NIP, they'll take the victory for what it is. They're even in gold now. Photic can't afford to get caught out again in the same place that Xiaohu caught him before, though.
He has flash this time. Maybe it makes the difference. Oh my god, we're happening again. There's the flash, though. Oh, nice little headbutt. Will actually push Xiaohu out. The flash from him will actually be burned. The redemption goes a little bit wide from Weiwei, but it is Photic who survives. We'll have that flash to be revisited on, though, within the next 5 minutes.
Oh, Zhuo's got to be kicking himself for that one. If he lands that combo, Xiaohu's dead. Probably Baron goes with it. Photic, no flash is a victory for Weibo nonetheless, though. I think it's more important for the Jinx to be away of taking their defenses away from, but Xiaohu not having flash, it's still awkward for themselves, particularly if you do have to find yourself on top of an equalizer. It's just a stopwatch, and that is about it. We see Xiaohu's mentality, though. We talked about itemization being very important in this game. Angel's not going for the Serpent's Fang, going for the Cyrildas. I think that is a mistake here. I feel like the shielding is getting so much value, but Xiaohu, see that he's not going for consistent DPS. He's going for the engage. He wants to get that Zhonya's second to make more of these big shuffle plays.
That's all he's really looking for. He's just trying to get a lot of the big setups onto Photic. But I will say somebody who's super set up here and has been a facilitator of success is Weiwei for Weibo, right? The fact that this man finds himself back on Weibo Gaming, which was formerly Suning all the way around, and he's having these kinds of performances is incredible, right? NIP looking for a little bit of something. Don't find anything. They'll be revisited, cooldown there, but it has been really cool to see Weiwei's resurgence into the league here since his start on Suning S back in 2018.
He's had an incredible game for him. This Ivern has been the difference maker in most of Weibo's won fights, and I think later on as well, the redemption, the shields, they're going to be such a thorn in the side of NIP, particularly as the second cooldowns of those shields come out. That play on the top side, it did feel like NIP were just using the timing, say, look, it's a minute until Dragon, we'll have our ultimate backup at that point. It's already rank 2 from Shadow. It's a bit of a throwaway, potentially gives them a pick off in top side. Sadly, it doesn't work out for them. But they're going to walk back. It does give them some vision control towards top side. They have vision towards that Baron, so Weibo can't get a sneak around that objective, especially with someone like Azir building up to multiple items and being able to fire over the backside of that wall. NIP cannot afford to let vision go on that objective.
NIP with some vision, with Weibo starting up fights, is a prime position for them. They have a 4-0 Angel on the Jace, and I think you can play around Weibo's aggression the way that they've been trying to position around these objectives very, very well. And now we'll actually see some push coming through from NIP in mid lane. They're going to TP Invincible here as well and get point and center for this potential Weibo Dragon Soul point.
NIP have won the fights where they're in the river first, so they're trying to force that. That's why the teleport comes out early. You need that equalizer here as soon as possible. Vision line blocked though from Weibo. You don't see the fog of war right now, but those bushes are so hard to fight into. Solar Flare lands.
Flare onto Angel. Nature's Grass comes right back out there. Daisy is already gone, so big member out of the fight for Weibo. Crisp tanking all that damage to the face. But Xiaohu, look at him. He's trying to find that angle. He's trying to find that Shurima shuffle on the side. The redemption actually does so much work there. And TheShy feeling zealous now with the healing at his back. Weibo just poking and prodding wherever they can. Engage denied. Light tried to go in there. Tried to get the big pop, but Apotheosis, it heals up a decent amount. Crisp on the other side. He goes out. And Photic is excited now. You gotta watch out for the man that has almost 40% of his team's damage. Xiaohu cannot be stopped. He's gonna go golden here. Photic wants another one. No, it's Shadow who ends up putting a halt to the Emperor's plans. And NIP goes straight to Baron.
Xiaohu's ult was just too late. Weibo, they try to engage into NIP, and that is exactly what they have wanted all along. There's one tree left standing from the Weibo forest. He's trying to find any way into the pit. I mean, weiwei can't get into the pit. He has himself flashed, but he's never going to be allowed close to it.
He's doing so much damage right now. He's going to steal Invincible. Oh my god, no way. Daisy! Daisy! Oh, weiwei gets the kill. You got Photic still taking down the Baron. Weiwei, he's there, 2,000 health. He doesn't have Smite though, so there's no way he can take that objective. It will be the Baron to NIP, but they'll be lacking one purple cape.
Daisy MVP does so much damage. You can't underestimate that champion. 5-0-6. Weiwei is trying his absolute best to end this series here. Not bring it to a game 5, but there are some key moments which happen in this fight. Light gets stopped as an engage. TheShy doesn't really get enough value on the backside either, but watch this. Knock up just as Light goes in. Perfect again from Zhuo in the heat of the moment. Incredible knockups to stop Crisp in previous fights, and Light here. Flash away from Invincible stops Light getting a kill onto the top laner as well. But this Alistar pick has been monumental from the support of NIP.
Yeah. I will say Crisp actually went out of the healing for Apotheosis. I don't think he wanted to connect that on Photic, and it also gave the excited nature to Photic in the end. So a little bit of miscommunication, a little bit of overeagerness from Weibo leads to NIP with a triumphant comeback, and now a 3K lead in 2 minutes on a Baron buff.
I will say when it comes to the Apotheosis, you don't, as a teammate, you don't have to be stood within the radius. It actually has a very long range. It's about the enemies you hit within it, but Light couldn't get enough value in it. It's been consistently denied access to that fight. Now the Siege comes on with the Baron buff.
Oh my goodness. I see the flank. I see it happening over and over again. Emperor's Divide into the Wombo. Apotheosis this time. The pull-off is easy. And Weibo, they pick apart NIP. There's nothing left, Zhuo. You might have had some big headbutt pulverizes, but you'll be cut up into some ground beef.
Weibo, your Emperor has arrived. Azir Shuffle makes the killer blow. Late game Weibo, they stick their heads up high, and even against the Baron, I think they might even be able to take an inhib. I don't think this is the end of the game, but it is an extension beyond what NIP wanted. They overpushed, Weibo punished.
Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times this man finds these incredible flanks. He immediately goes to the side lane trying to capitalize on every moment, and that is an inhib tower down. NIP reeling from that punch to the gut.
Utterly ridiculous these fights are. NIP, this is something which Xiaohu has done to a great many enemies over time. You think of the 2021 MSI winning run, or rather the MSI last year, where 22. Xiaohu is so good at finding wards behind the enemy and finding a way into the backline. He has done this for years. He showed the world how to do it at his various MSI titles, and this is top draw. Angel cannot be safe at this point. Straight into the solar flare, and that apotheosis is the ascent to godhood,
Zhuo
which
was there.
Weibo wanted for such a long time in this game.
Zhuo was there. He walked right by him. Lang just went straight in. That was great capitalization from Weibo, and unfortunate mistiming for NIP.
This is a difficult spot now for NIP because they don't have themselves a lot of these big flashes. Photic, in particular, that's going to be a big one for them to be missing. Invincible as well. Not necessarily the easiest person to stay alive. But can Xiaohu find himself that angle once again? No teleport this time. Lots of wards on the flanks. It's not going to be easy. NIP still have themselves a lot of items to play with.
TheShy pretty tanky now. Shadow, he wants it. He's going all the way in with the Nature's Grass combo. There's some of the follow-up there as well. Invincible has TP'd to the fight. He just finished a Void Staff too, but that means they have no real response. Angel's going to have to be the one to answer Xiaohu, but he's already taken a tier 2 tower.
This is Xiaohu League of Legends. Watch the enemy over push, put down wards where you can, and try and play the map as wide as possible. This is classic Xiaohu, and he's getting great value out of it. It might just win Weibo the series. It's definitely given them some more hope in this game 4. NIP, they'd love to have a new hope, but sadly they're on the dark side of that equation. That didn't work out too well for them one in that movie. NIP...
Gotta change the jersey.
Yeah, maybe they need to have their away kit. They need to have an away kit, slightly lighter side. But
especially when they're facing against the white light that is Weibo. I will also say Rabadon's death cap completed for Xiaohu. He might be 1-3-6, but the man, the emperor that he has molded into in this series is nothing but greatness waiting on his doorstep. You have the Emperor's Divide there as well, and push back Photic. That is a death knell, and that could just be a huge haymaker. NIP, Crisp lands too. Zhuo is there, but he got the TP coming in. That's Angel, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They don't have much damage left now that Photic is gone. Accelerated Shock Blast is there, but they already found Zhuo, and they're still picking apart NIP. TheShy has found Angel too, and a double kill for Light. Can he find a third? They're going to push down the mid lane though, and Shadow's just trying to clear the wave.
Xiaohu has done it again. What can't this man from the mid lane do? Don't tell him it's not spring. He's playing as though he is the Emperor of Spring, but in summer. Photic cannot stand and fight. That flash being down has been absolutely critical, and once again, NIP, they try and find themselves control in a lane. A flank is found in NIP, they fall apart. Angel's not at the fight, they can't stand their ground well enough, and the game once again continues, but each time this happens, it feels like Weibo find another way to stop NIP finding the best result out of their team composition.
This is a soul, an ocean soul to boot, going to Weibo at 33-45. And don't think the steal. Nobody's in range to get hit by that one, so we'll go a little bit wide. But you also have to remember, like, not only is there so much stress, so much pressure on these teams, NIP are trying to make the miracle run from round number 1. It is also on top of your elimination here in the playoffs. Whoever wins here will be the last team that is even in contention for qualification to Worlds in the LPL. And you have to always remember there's 4 slots this year. All teams are foaming at the mouth for that, but Weibo, they seem to want it a little bit more.
So Weibo, they have themselves the Ocean Soul now. That extra ability to shrug off poke is going to be so damn annoying for ninjas in Pyjamas. I think that might be the straw which breaks the camel's back, or in this case, the ninjas. Turret starting to fire off. That Sun Disc put up to establish territory, and there are so many items now from Weibo. 20 stacks on the Magi's for Weiwei, who has not died on this Ivern. What a great game he's had here from the jungle. Can he see it out, though? Baron started.
Baron is up. Xiaohu on the flank yet again. He has the sun disc there, shining some light. Nature's Grasp, the equalizer. There's the combo from NIP, but you have to watch Xiaohu. Light goes in, apotheosis, and they have first divine. Everyone going ham for Weibo, and there ain't nobody left to even speak their name for NIP. Zhuo is cut down to the burgers that he's always been, and Weibo, they find the fight and the final nail in the coffin of NIP.
They're not in pajamas anymore, they're in their graves. NIP, their story ends here. 3-1 to Weibo Gaming, and it is all off the back of miracle plays from the Emperor of the mid lane.
They could have tried to make the miracle run, but Weibo wanted a date with LNG. Light wanted a date with his old team, and they show some consistency as they take a 3-1 victory. Weibo Gaming are your winners of this round 2 matchup, and they will confidently stride into round number 3.
How terrifying is it to look across the rift at Weibo in late game? They've had their